5,000 arrests, 4 tons of fentanyl seized, over $200 million in drugs and weapons taken off the streets. The largest strike against the Sinaloa and CJNG cartels in American history. But here's what they're not telling you. The real shock wasn't the drugs, it was who wore the handcuffs. Not just traffickers, sheriffs, border inspectors, federal officers. The very people sworn to protect America were helping poison it. If you want to see how deep this corruption truly goes, hit like right now and stay with me, because what's coming next is what every American needs to hear. Chicago, 4 a.m. While the city sleeps, convoys are already in motion. Thousands of agents from the DEA, FBI, and Homeland Security deploy at once in 22 cities across America. They call it the Surge, the largest coordinated strike against organized crime in decades. The target? The Sinaloa Cartel and CJNG, the 2 most powerful drug trafficking organizations in the world. In Cicero, a garage door explodes off its hinges. Inside, a pill press screaming as it dies. Pallets of counterfeit pills, each one stamped to look like oxycodone, each one laced with enough fentanyl to stop a human heart. In Phoenix, helicopters descend on suburban homes that doubled as pill mills. Flashbangs ignite. Teams in black fatigues breach doors. Inside, they find millions of fake pills ready to flood American streets. At the port of Long Beach, cargo cranes stand frozen as federal teams swarm container ships. The labels say industrial cleaning supplies. Behind false steel walls, agents discover thousands of kilograms of precursor chemicals, the lifeblood of fentanyl production. In Houston, on Interstate 10, a convoy of trucks is stopped. Beneath crates of lettuce and onions, hundreds of military-grade firearms, AR platforms, 50 caliber rifles, all heading to cartel enforcers. This is no longer a drug operation. This is a war supply chain. Within weeks, the numbers tell a story America has never seen before. Over 5,000 suspects in custody, drug labs shut down, hidden warehouses dismantled, cash drop houses raided, encrypted financial networks seized. But let me show you why Chicago matters. This city isn't just another target. Chicago is the heart of the cartel's American empire. Rail yards that process millions of containers, interstate highways connecting to every major city, cargo airports with the capacity of seaports. If you're running a multinational drug empire, Chicago is your distribution dream. All the drugs come through here, stockpiled, then shipped across the entire United States. Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, the entire East Coast, and then the money flows back. Millions in cash, stockpiled again, then shipped south to Mexico. The product they're moving? Fentanyl, a synthetic opioid so deadly that 2 milligrams can kill you. That's smaller than a few grains of salt. The human cost is staggering. Over 100,000 Americans die every year from overdoses. Nearly 70% are tied to fentanyl. In Ohio, morgues are running out of space. High schools in Indiana now store Narcan beside fire extinguishers. Small-town police departments are overwhelmed. This isn't about addiction anymore. This is industrial-scale poisoning of American communities. And the cartels? Sinaloa and CJNG don't operate like street gangs anymore. They function like Fortune 500 companies. Supply chains, accountants, chemists, logistics managers, armed enforcement units that act as private armies. Their labs in Mexico can cook millions of lethal doses in a single week. The chemicals arrive from China and India, labeled as industrial solvents. One lab, 1 week, millions of deaths waiting to happen. But as the arrests mounted, something colder surfaced, something that changed everything. Because some of the people in handcuffs weren't cartel soldiers. They were county sheriffs, border inspectors, federal officers, men and women sworn to protect this country. They sold their badges. And in that moment, the war changed. The threat wasn't just outside our borders, it was inside our institutions. Let me give you the specifics. In El Paso, a Customs and Border Protection officer was charged with waving through trucks carrying both narcotics and migrants, using his federal badge as a shield. For years. In Arizona, Internal Affairs uncovered supervisors who ignored warnings about colleagues accepting cartel money, burying trafficking cases to protect shell firms tied to the cartels. This wasn't a few bad apples. This was infrastructure. The cartels had stopped bribing individuals. They started feeding the bureaucracy itself. Here's how deep it goes. The money trail formed a pattern so precise it felt surgical. Cash collected from street-level trafficking in Chicago and Houston was funneled through front companies in Miami, disguised as consulting fees, trucking invoices, sanitation contracts. From there, the funds were routed through cryptocurrency exchanges overseas, washed clean through digital anonymity. Then the money re-entered the United States as legitimate capital. Once clean, this blood money flowed into real estate deals, municipal contracts, campaign donations, even police union suppliers. The same accounts funding cartel gun shipments also paid city contractors and political donors. The corruption wasn't hypothetical. It was embedded, systemic, intentional. And the root cause? Institutional fatigue. After emergency directives to secure the border, Homeland Security hired thousands of new agents in less than a year. Background checks were shortened. Temporary clearances became standard. More personnel, more money, more pressure, less accountability. Since 2024, dozens of officers, from county sheriffs to senior border agents, have been charged with cartel-related crimes. The scale of the threat, amplified by evidence of internal corruption, demanded an unprecedented response. The administration executed an executive order officially classifying the Sinaloa and CJNG cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. This single declaration changed everything. Minutes after the order was signed, the Pentagon gained new authority to operate alongside the DEA and Homeland Security. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth called it a whole-of-government counter-terror campaign. Their message to the cartels was stark and uncompromising. If you're going to operate like insurgents, we will treat you accordingly. We will find you. We will map your networks. We will hunt you down. And we will eliminate you. For the first time in history, the U.S. Northern Command was authorized to provide intelligence, surveillance, and operational support to law enforcement task forces. Drug enforcement stopped being about policing. It became a war plan. The goal shifted from arrests to total destruction of these organizations, to defend the homeland at any cost. This new posture enabled the synchronized strikes we've been discussing. America's war on the cartels became an official counter-terror policy, and the global target list expanded exponentially. But even with this massive show of force, profound challenges remain. The cartels are already adapting. Fentanyl is too cheap and too easy to manufacture. One lab shut down, 3 more open. The supply loop is endless. The financial war continues quietly. The cartel's deep ties to cryptocurrency exchanges and shadow banking ensure they can rebuild their capital base within months. And the most corrosive threat? Internal corruption. After 5,000 arrests and dozens of law enforcement officers indicted, faith in the badge has been damaged. Here's the question nobody in Washington wants to answer. What happens when the real battlefield is inside the very agencies sworn to defend us? Let me paint you the full picture of what we're up against. Over 150 Americans still die every single day from fentanyl and synthetic opioid overdoses. Every single day. That's more than car accidents, more than gun violence, more than any other single cause of death for Americans under 50. The cartels have turned American pain into a $13 billion industry, and they've done it by exploiting every weakness in our system. They've infiltrated our border security. They've corrupted local law enforcement. They've bought politicians. They've laundered money through our banks. They've used our own infrastructure, our highways, our rail yards, our ports to distribute poison across every state. In small towns across Indiana, Pennsylvania, and Ohio, parents are finding their teenagers dead in their bedrooms. Not from heroin, not from pills they knew were dangerous, from counterfeit Percocet bought from a friend, from a Xanax pill purchased online, from what they thought was safe. The cartels have weaponized trust. They press pills that look exactly like legitimate medication. They stamp them with the same markings. They package them the same way. And they lace every single one with fentanyl. One pill can kill, and most victims never know what hit them. School nurses are being trained to administer Narcan. Gas station bathrooms have been removed in some towns because the overdose risk is too high. Diners have taken the keys off their restroom doors. Police chiefs in small departments admit they're overwhelmed, outgunned, and out of resources. This isn't a border crisis. This isn't a big city problem. This is a nationwide emergency that's touching every community, every family, every school. If you're still watching, you understand how serious this is. Hit subscribe because what comes next shows whether we're winning or losing this war. So what happens now? Where do we go from here? The surge was a powerful statement. 5,000 arrests, 4 tons of fentanyl off the streets, millions of dollars seized, cartel networks disrupted across 22 cities. But everyone involved knows this was just the opening move of a much longer war. The administration is tightening sanctions on cartel leadership. They're expanding task force funding. They're formalizing intelligence sharing between law enforcement and military assets for persistent surveillance. But they're also doubling internal oversight. Because the rot that Phase 2 exposed can't be ignored. Integrity checks, audit trails, a culture that treats shortcuts and corruption as the real contraband. Financial institutions are being forced to cooperate more aggressively. Bank secrecy is being pierced by court orders. Cryptocurrency is being traced to cold storage. Shell companies are being unmasked. The goal isn't just to arrest traffickers. It's to dismantle the entire financial ecosystem that allows cartels to operate. Community programs are expanding, slowly. Treatment capacity is growing, not fast enough. Prevention programs are fighting for attention and funding. Families who've lost loved ones are bringing photos to city council meetings, demanding action, demanding change, demanding something that feels impossible: accountability. Federal prosecutors are stacking conspiracy charges, money laundering counts, and racketeering indictments like Careful Towers. Some defendants are flipping, some are posturing, most are waiting. The courtrooms will be busy for years. But here's the hard truth. Enforcement alone won't solve this. Surge bought breathing room, but who uses that room and for what? That's the question every community must answer. This operation wasn't just about arrests. It was about reclaiming our nation's dignity, about drawing a line that cannot be crossed. For decades, the cartels believed they could operate in darkness, poisoning communities, corrupting institutions, turning neighborhoods into battlegrounds, treating American lives as expendable. They built networks of money, violence, deception, and power. And for a time, the world believed they couldn't be stopped. But the surge proved something different. It proved that the United States is still capable of unity in the face of danger. It proved that men and women wearing the badge, not all, but many, still carry a code of honor that is not for sale. And it proved that when federal agents, analysts, prosecutors, and intelligence officers move with one purpose, the ground shakes. The lesson is clear. Evil doesn't need permission to grow. It only requires good people to look away. And in this moment, good people did not look away. The DEA, the FBI, Homeland Security, U.S. Marshals, local task forces. They stood in the doorway between order and collapse, and they chose to fight. So now I'm asking you, do we continue this fight? Do we demand stronger borders, stronger accountability, stronger protection for our communities? Do we stand with the agents who put their lives on the line, or do we allow the system to fracture from within? Your voice matters. If you believe America must keep fighting this war, hit that like button right now. Subscribe if you want more truth that the mainstream media won't tell you. And drop "hold the line" in the comments if you believe integrity is our first line of defense. Because this war isn't over, it's just beginning. And we need every American who's willing to pay attention, to speak up, and to demand better. The cartels are watching. The question is, are we?